For many viewers, Melissa Sue Anderson will always be remembered as Mary Ingalls, the gentle, thoughtful daughter from Little House on the Prairie. That role left a lasting impression because it embodied innocence, restraint, and emotional depth at a time when television families felt almost like extensions of our own. Decades later, those memories remain powerful, which is exactly why any modern appearance by Anderson tends to spark strong reactions. When someone so closely associated with a single iconic role steps back into public view, people don't just see the person, they see their own nostalgia reflected back at them. That emotional connection can be comforting, but it can also create rigid expectations. Anderson's recent appearance reminded audiences that time doesn't stand still, and neither do the people we admire. She is no longer the young actress audiences once knew, but a fully formed adult with her own sense of style, confidence, and identity, shaped by years far beyond the Prairie. Moving beyond the Prairie image. Typecasting is a powerful thing, especially when a role becomes culturally defining. For Melissa Sue Anderson, Mary Ingalls wasn't just a character. She became a symbol of quiet strength and modesty for an entire generation. That association followed her long after the series ended, influencing how fans imagined her life and personality. But actors, like everyone else, grow beyond the roles that made them famous. Over time, Anderson chose a more private life, stepping away from the constant visibility of Hollywood. That distance only solidified the frozen-in-time image many fans held on to. So when she reappears looking confident and stylish, it can feel jarring. Not because she's done anything wrong, but because it challenges a story people have been telling themselves for years. Her evolution highlights how unfair it can be to expect someone to remain exactly as they were in a single chapter of their life. A modern appearance that sparked conversation. When Melissa Sue Anderson recently appeared in public, the reaction was immediate and intense. It wasn't about shock for shock's sake, but about contrast. She presented herself with a polished, contemporary look that reflected confidence and self-assurance, qualities that sometimes get overlooked when nostalgia takes over. The outfit she wore was elegant and modern, emphasizing that she is comfortable in her own skin and unafraid to embrace the present. There was nothing inappropriate or attention-seeking about it, yet it still prompted widespread discussion because it didn't align with the memory many people carried. That contrast became the story. Fans weren't just reacting to her appearance. They were reacting to the realization that time has passed and that Anderson has lived a full, multifaceted life beyond the screen. The moment became less about fashion and more about personal growth. Why change can feel so surprising. Public reactions like this reveal more about audience psychology than about the celebrity involved. When viewers grow up watching a television character, that character can feel permanent, almost immune to aging or change. Seeing the actor evolve disrupts that illusion. Melissa Sue Anderson's appearance challenged the idea that public figures owe consistency to their past images. Change can feel uncomfortable because it forces people to confront their own passage of time and shifting perspectives. In many ways, the surprise wasn't about her confidence or style, but about the sudden reminder that life moves forward for everyone. What makes this moment interesting is how quickly surprise turned into appreciation for many viewers. Once the initial shock faded, admiration took its place, suggesting that people are more open to change than they sometimes expect, as long as they're given a moment to adjust. Confidence as a form of self-expression. One of the most striking aspects of the reaction was how often people use the word confidence. Anderson's presence communicated comfort with who she is today, not who she was expected to remain. Confidence, especially later in life, can be a powerful statement. It challenges the notion that reinvention belongs only to the young, or that growth slows down with age. Her appearance wasn't about reclaiming fame or rewriting history. It was about showing up authentically. That kind of self-assurance resonates because it feels earned, shaped by years of experience rather than external validation. For many fans, this shift reframed the conversation entirely. Instead of asking why she looked different, people began to ask why they ever expected her not to. In that sense, the moment became quietly inspiring, even without trying to be. Social media reactions and public reflection. As expected, social media lit up with commentary almost instantly. Some reactions were rooted in surprise, others in praise, and many in reflection. Fans shared memories of watching Little House on the Prairie with their families, then contrasted those memories with the person Anderson is today. While a few struggled with the difference, the overall tone leaned positive, celebrating her grace and authenticity. What stood out was how quickly the conversation shifted from appearance to autonomy. People acknowledge that she has every right to present herself however she chooses, free from the expectations tied to a decades-old role. In a digital age where public figures are constantly scrutinized, this response felt refreshingly balanced. It showed that audiences are capable of growth too, learning to appreciate individuals as they are now, rather than who they once were. Privacy, choice, and stepping back into view. Melissa Sue Anderson's long-standing preference for privacy has only amplified interest in her rare public moments. When someone chooses to step away from the spotlight, their return, even briefly, naturally draws attention. But it's important to recognize that visibility is a choice, not an obligation. Anderson never positioned herself as someone seeking constant relevance, which makes her confidence all the more genuine. Her appearance wasn't framed as a comeback or a reinvention campaign. It was simply a moment of presence. That distinction matters because it underscores her agency. She isn't performing for approval or nostalgia. Instead, she's existing on her own terms, allowing people to see her as she is now. In an industry that often pressures former stars to relive their past, her approach feels grounded and self-directed, letting go of fixed narratives. Moments like this invite a broader conversation about how we relate to public figures and, by extension, to one another. It's easy to lock people into narratives based on a single role, era, or impression, but real lives are far more complex. Melissa Sue Anderson's story reminds us that identity is not static. People evolve, tastes change, confidence grows, and priorities shift. Holding onto fixed narratives can prevent us from appreciating that growth. When fans allow themselves to see beyond the prairie and into the present, the experience becomes richer, not diminished. The character of Mary Ingalls remains meaningful, but it doesn't need to define the woman forever. By letting go of those constraints, audiences gain the chance to celebrate both the past and the present, without forcing them to compete. A moment that resonates beyond fashion. Ultimately, this wasn't just about an outfit or a public appearance. It was about visibility, autonomy, and the freedom to evolve. Melissa Sue Anderson's moment resonated because it gently challenged assumptions while remaining grounded in authenticity. She didn't ask for attention, yet she sparked conversation simply by being herself. That kind of impact is rare and meaningful. It serves as a reminder that growth doesn't erase history, it builds on it. For fans, the takeaway isn't shock, but perspective. People can honor what once was while embracing what is. In that balance lies a deeper appreciation, not just for a beloved actress, but for the idea that everyone deserves the space to grow, surprise, and define themselves anew, no matter how familiar they may